The series starts with this young boy running alone in the woods. Suddenly, he comes across a husky and pulls out a gun to shoot it, but changes his mind. So his instructor Pavel comes along and reminds him that the second rule of being an assassin is never to leave a witness alive.
Never keep a witness alive.
Hearing this, the boy tries once again to shoot the husky, but he's unable to. So Pavel makes to shoot it, but the boy quickly shoves him away, letting the dog escape. Years later, the young boy, now an adult, lives with the wolf as his pet. The boy's name is Soo-hyun, and he works as an assassin. One night, Pavel informs him of their next target, a Russian Red Mafia. Pavel plans to carry out the assassin alone, but Soo-hyun advises him against it and reminds him to take care of his ailing health.
Just admit your condition.
I've got enough time to take care of the target.
No, let me do it. And when we are done,
It's time.
Before leaving for bed, Pavel hands Soo-hyun a picture and claims the people in the picture are Soo-hyun's real family. He also reveals that Soo-hyun's birth father had hired him to assassinate Soo-hyun when he was a child, but he disobeyed the order and raised the boy.
Who ordered to kill you? Was your father?
Upon hearing this, Soo-hyun doesn't show any emotion. Instead, he tells Pavel to pick a location where they can retire once they complete the last assassin task. But the next day, Soo-hyun wakes up to discover that Pavel had gone alone to carry out the assassin. Meanwhile, at the Red Mafia's mansion, Pavel aims his sniper to shoot at the Mafia, but his hands quiver uncontrollably due to his illness, making him lose the target. He decides to sneak into the mansion to find the target. At the same time, Soo-hyun arrives and sees him killing a guard, so he also sneaks into the mansion to assist Pavel. Meanwhile, a guard identifies Pavel as an intruder.
We've got an intruder.
And gets into a fight with him. As tons of guards arrive to subdue Pavel, Soo-hyun suddenly shows up and shoots at them. But one of the guards escapes with an injured Pavel and locks him in a room for torture. Seeing this, Soo-hyun immediately crawls on the roof to plant a bomb. Then he captures the Mafia and orders him to assemble all the guards in the living room. With everyone gone, he goes to rescue Pavel. As he escapes with Pavel, the mansion explodes, killing the Mafia and guards. However, the Mafia's son survives the explosion. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun tries to treat Pavel's injuries, but the man rejects treatment, claiming it's too late to save his life. He advises Soo-hyun to stop working as an assassin and to live a normal life. Soon after saying this, he dies.
live like the people at Ephrata.
That night, Soo-hyun receives a message from his agent with a photo similar to the one Pavel gave him. Shocked, he calls the agent, Philip, who tells him to leave the house immediately because the Mafia's son wants him dead. So Soo-hyun manages to escape with his wolf pet before the Mafia's son arrives. Alone at the park, Soo-hyun calls Agent Philip for more information about the photo. So the agent explains that a mysterious client had sent the photos, promising to reveal more information about his lost family in the photos if he helps her to assassinate 5 targets. For the next target, Soo-hyun kills a man by pushing him off a cliff and staging the scene as an accident. Unknown to him, this man is the CEO of a company that had been suspected of drug trafficking. His death draws media attention, so Detective Jin goes to inspect the crime scene and discovers tracks of the assassin. While driving away from the crime scene, she encounters a veterinarian trying to rescue an injured animal, so she offers to help by using her scarf to bandage the animal. The veterinarian turns out to be Soo-hyun. When he notices her bloodied scarf, he offers to wash it and gives her his business card. Later that day, after the successful killing of a target, Soo-hyun receives another picture from the mysterious client. It's a picture of a mansion with an address on it. Suspicious that it belongs to his lost family, Soo-hyun immediately drives over to the mansion but finds it empty. Inside the mansion, he finds strange-looking dolls and a phone that displays a video. While watching the video, he suddenly hears a ticking sound and realizes there's a bomb nearby. So he escapes before the mansion explodes. Outside, he receives a strange call warning him never to investigate his lost family or else they'll die.
첫째, 모녀를 찾으려 하면 모녀가 죽습니다. 둘째, 의뢰인을 찾으려 해도 모녀가 죽습니다.
Later that day, as Detective Jin eats dinner with a work colleague, he informs her of the higher-up's decision to close the murder case as an accident, but she refuses to let it go since she suspects the criminal was also behind the death of her best friend. Then, she recalls there was a child witness to her friend's murder, and that this child had a noticeable scar on the head. After recalling this, she becomes set on finding the child witness. Unknown to her, this child's name is Sul-gi, who's now a teenager and lives with Soo-hyun. That night, while driving home from dinner, Detective Jin runs over a cat and panics, but she remembers Soo-hyun's business card and immediately rushes to his veterinary clinic with the cat. He decides to operate on the cat, and it survives, so as she thanks him for his help,
고마워요. 고양이 살려주셔서.
Sul-gi suddenly walks in and changes the mood in the room. The next day, Detective Jin decides to rent a room in the same building as Soo-hyun. But Sul-gi is unhappy with this since she suspects there's something romantic going on between Soo-hyun and the detective. Due to her suspicions, she becomes hostile towards Detective Jin and even speaks rudely to her.
생각보다 수압이 너무 약하네요.
아닌데요? 안 약한데요?
But one day, when a group of thugs tries to kidnap Sul-gi, both Detective Jin and Soo-hyun show up to her rescue, making her change her attitude towards the detective. That night, Detective Jin asks Soo-hyun about his relationship with Sul-gi, because she had read from the police report that Sul-gi is a wealthy orphan who lost her parents at a young age. She had also learned that Sul-gi had been trying to hide from her greedy relatives who sent the thugs.
전부 경찰서에 있는 서류는 다 봤어요. 친척들 때문에 수없이 다녔던 이사 기록이랑.
As they discuss, Sul-gi overhears their conversation and yells at the detective for prying into her private life.
아줌마가 뭔데 내 사생활을 훔쳐가요? 아줌마가 뭔데?
The next day, at the station, Detective Jin and her team receive intel that a notorious gang, headed by Mr. Lee, have created an alliance with an international Russian mafia boss with the aim of engaging in human trafficking. Upon hearing this, the team decides to tackle the notorious gang. In the middle of the meeting, Detective Jin suddenly receives a call from her mother, which makes her recall her childhood. It turns out she had been adopted by Chairman Do, whose wife suffers from hysteria due to the unfortunate loss of their child. After adopting Jin, the wife becomes delusional, believing Jin is their deceased daughter. So, Detective Jin grows up under her firm control. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun receives a strange text from someone who claims to know about his family, so he immediately contacts Agent Philip, who suspects that the mafia's son is behind the texts.
살인 목표 2세. 그 마피아들 복수는 죽을 때까지란 거 알잖아.
Upon hearing this, Soo-hyun requests for the mafia's son's location. At the same time, Detective Jin and her team are planning to take down the notorious gang. So, Detective Jin wears a hidden camera and disguises as a repairman to infiltrate the gang's hideout. Unknown to her, the mafia's son is present in the building to inspect the women for trafficking. So, as Detective Jin fiddles with the electronics for repair, the mafia son appears with a drugged, trafficked woman. Then, the gangsters surround Jin and contemplate trafficking her along with the drugged woman. At the same time, Soo-hyun covers himself in masks to sneak into the gang's hideout. So, as Detective Jin wrestles with the gangsters, he walks in on them, diverting their attention. As they focus on fighting him, police backup arrives at the building to save the drugged woman. Meanwhile, the mafia's son attempts to escape through the rooftop, but Detective Jin stops him in time. Seeing this, he immediately fires at her, but Soo-hyun appears from nowhere to take the bullet for her. However, he's in full mask, so she's unable to recognize him. So, he immediately shoots at the mafia to knock out the gun. Seeing that he has no intent to kill, the mafia confidently jumps off the building with a rope. As Soo-hyun tries to pursue him, Detective Jin suddenly points her gun at him and instructs him to pull off the mask, but he disobeys her order and jumps off the roof. However, she manages to shoot his arm right as he jumps off. At home, Soo-hyun calls his agent and requests him to investigate the mafia's smuggling route. But minutes after the call, the mafia's men invade the agent's home and torture him for Soo-hyun's location. That evening, Detective Jin visits Soo-hyun's vet clinic and asks him to celebrate a birthday with her. She reveals she had a childhood friend who's no longer in touch, but she loves celebrating their birthdays with cake. Hearing this, Soo-hyun also reveals he has a blurry childhood memory of a friend who often made paper planes with him. Detective Jin responds that she also loved paper planes as a child. That night, Soo-hyun revisits the paper planes he made as a child and remembers that today was his birthday. This gives him flashbacks to the night his father had sent assassins to eliminate him. Meanwhile, the chairman, who's also Detective Jin's father, is worried about the series of assassinations taking place and suspects that someone from his past is behind the assassination. In a flashback, the chairman had been working on an illegal biotech, which made him rich. However, his friend, Ko Hyun-woo, decides to back out of the business since it involves the lives of innocent children. Seeing this, the chairman sends an assassin to kill off his friend's family, but the friend manages to escape. And now all the assassinations have been people who were involved in killing the friend's family. So the chairman wonders if he's the next target on the assassins list. So the mafia's son begins to stalk Soo-hyun and discovers his relationship with Seol-gi. The next day, he stalks Seol-gi to her high school and sends her photo to Soo-hyun. Seeing that the mafia is after Seol-gi, Soo-hyun gives her a whistle and instructs her to blow it each time she's in danger at the house. But the girl misunderstands his intentions and begins blowing the whistle at every minor inconvenience she faces, making Soo-hyun tired of her actions. That day, as she contemplates blowing the whistle again, the mafia's son sneaks into her room to kidnap her, but she manages to blow the whistle, so Soo-hyun shows up to her rescue. As he wrestles with the mafia, Seol-gi becomes traumatized and remembers her childhood when her father was murdered. During the fight, Soo-hyun plants a tracker on the mafia before he escapes from the house. Later that night, he goes to find the mafia using the tracker. At the same time, the police get intel on the mafia's location and drive to arrest him at the shipping dock. But Soo-hyun arrives ahead of them and finds the mafia. Seeing the situation, the mafia begs to live and claims to have information about Soo-hyun's family and the mysterious person ordering the assassinations, but Soo-hyun puts a bullet in his head.
I can help you. I can give you his name, where he lives, everything. But please don't shoot.
Back at home, Seol-gi recalls the day of her grandfather's murder. Pavel had tried to kill her for witnessing the murder, but Soo-hyun stops him on time and promises to kill the girl himself. However, he leaves her with a scar on the head and lets her live. Meanwhile, after the death of the mafia, Agent Philip visits Soo-hyun and begs for a place to stay. So Soo-hyun introduces him to Seol-gi and also lets him live in the house. One day, the agent gives him a picture of the next target to kill. Through investigation, Soo-hyun discovers the target is a senator. So he infiltrates the senator's house by posing as a vet doctor to treat the senator's daughter's cat. While inside, he takes permission to use the restroom but secretly sneaks into the senator's office to plant a listening device. Then he breaks into the safe and finds a strange document containing data on children from Hansel's orphanage home. He quickly starts taking photos of the files, but comes across one with no data or photo, only the inscription, number 88. Meanwhile, at the station, Detective Jin inspects the mafia's dead body with a coroner and discovers that the knife wounds on the mafia are similar to wounds on the bodies of the people who were assassinated. So, she begins to suspect that the masked man on the rooftop is behind the strings of recent assassinations. During dinner with the new chief detective, he also corroborates her suspicion of the identity of the murderer. The next day at the station, Detective Jin receives a file containing data on Hansel Orphanage and on all the people who were assassinated. At the same time, Soo-hyun plays with a paper plane from his childhood with the inscription number 88. Agent Philip sees him and reveals that the senator on their target list has a connection with the orphanage. He also shows Soo-hyun an article from years ago that reported on finding children's skeletons near the orphanage. On hearing this, Soo-hyun sets out to visit the orphanage. While driving to the location, the familiar streets remind him of the night he was kidnapped and put in a bag by some assassins. He arrives at the sealed orphanage and goes inside. Unaware of this, Detective Jin also shows up to inspect the place after receiving the file on the orphanage. While inside, Detective Jin recalls memories of her childhood in the same orphanage. At the same time, Soo-hyun remembers being friends with a girl at the orphanage. As Detective Jin inspects all the rooms, she finds a desk nameplate and realizes that the current senator was the manager of the orphanage. As she walks into the hallway, Soo-hyun runs into her but dives to hide in a corner. She notices a presence at the corner and goes to check it out but finds no one. So she returns to the station to review the file and discovers that all the people who were assassinated had once testified against a man named Hyun Woo. That night, as she eats dinner with the chief detective, he reveals that the next target of the assassination would be the senator, because he was also involved in testifying against Hyun Woo. The chief detective also points out that Detective Jin was adopted from the Hansel orphanage and asks if she knows anything abnormal about the orphanage. That night, as Detective Jin returns home, she sees a motorbike by the side of the house and recalls seeing it close to the orphanage. So, she asks Seol-gi if Soo-hyun had used the bike. When Seol-gi confirms that Soo-hyun had gone out with the bike, she begins to suspect Soo-hyun's identity. The next day, she invites everyone for a meal at her house. While inside, Soo-hyun finds a paper plane with the inscription number 88. She notices him taking a picture of the paper plane, and it confirms her suspicions that he also grew up in the orphanage. After the meal, Soo-hyun tells Agent Philip that Detective Jin knows about his childhood at the orphanage, so the agent advises that they relocate before she discovers he's an assassin. But Soo-hyun insists on staying close to his enemy. That night, he eavesdrops on the conversation between the senator and a man named Tae-soo through the planted listening device. The senator tells the Tae-soo that the children at the orphanage were used as organ donors for wealthy patients, and that it's time to extort money from all the people involved in the evil activities. While speaking, he moves to open his safe, but finds it already unlocked. Seeing that nothing's missing, he assumes the lock is broken. Upon hearing their conversation, Soo-hyun immediately contacts Agent Philip and instructs him to dig for information on the man named Tae-soo. Meanwhile, Tae-soo meets up with the chairman and narrates everything that the senator had said. The chairman is worried about being exposed for his involvement in the orphanage scheme, so he instructs Tae-soo to find a female worker who had escaped from the orphanage with a baby girl. Meanwhile, Agent Philip digs up information on Tae-soo and discovers that he used to work at the orphanage as a guidance counselor. While digging for more information, the agent suddenly receives a message from their mysterious client about a woman who was a former worker at the orphanage. He immediately gives Soo-hyun the location of the female worker. Soo-hyun goes to visit the female worker, who's now aged. As he asks her about the children from the orphanage, she immediately hides in her room to avoid talking to him. So, before leaving, he drops a note with his phone number and reveals he is one of the children from the orphanage. Later that night, Soo-hyun meets up with Detective Jin and admits he was one of the children at the orphanage, so she opens up about her painful days at the orphanage. The next day, Soo-hyun receives a text from the former female worker and rushes over to her house. At the same time, Detective Jin investigates the identity of the child witness to her friend's murder and realizes that the witness is Seol-gi. As Soo-hyun drives to the female worker's house, she calls him on the phone, but he immediately detects she's in danger from the noise in the background. When he arrives at her house, he discovers she's missing. Meanwhile, Detective Jin arrives home and begins to question Seol-gi about the murder of her friend. As she begs the girl to reveal details of the murder, Soo-hyun walks in to interrupt their discussion. Seol-gi claims not to remember anything about the murder and leaves, but the next day she agrees to go on an outing with Detective Jin to talk about the incident. After playing and having fun in a field, Detective Jin opens up about her murdered friend and reveals he was the only friend she had while growing up with her adoptive parents. Seol-gi silently listens to her without revealing anything. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun prepares to assassinate the senator due to pressure from the mysterious client. He infiltrates the man's office and holds him at gunpoint, demanding information about the orphanage, but the man denies knowing anything. And just as Soo-hyun is about to pull the trigger, the man's grandchild unexpectedly enters the room. Seeing the young girl, Soo-hyun changes his mind about killing and leaves the mansion. At home, he tells his agent he's tired of assassinating people and wants to live a clean life, but the agent insists that he completes this particular job. Seeing that Soo-hyun hasn't killed the senator, the mysterious client contacts Agent Philip and threatens to kill the people around Soo-hyun if they don't complete the job. Once Soo-hyun learns about this threat, he tells the agent to break off the contract with the mysterious client. Meanwhile, Detective Jin requests for a sketch of the masked man she had encountered. While reviewing the sketch with the chief detective, she discovers the uncanny resemblance between Soo-hyun and the sketched image, so she begins to suspect Soo-hyun's real identity. She rushes home and sneaks into his room. There, she finds a camera with photos of the senator's car. Before she could look more into it, Soo-hyun enters his room to get the camera. However, he notices her presence but pretends to know nothing. Outside the house, the mysterious client calls Soo-hyun and threatens to kill Detective Jin if he doesn't assassinate the senator. Hearing this, Soo-hyun prepares to kill the senator during his campaign speech. As the crowd gathers to listen to the senator's speech, Soo-hyun positions himself on a rooftop with a sniper and guns down the man. Chaos breaks out, so Soo-hyun tries to sneak away, but Soo-hyun sights him with a mask and chases him down. She eventually catches up with him in an underground alley and points a gun at him, threatening to shoot. So,
멈춰.
he admits defeat and raises his hand in surrender. Seeing this, she walks close to him and attempts to remove his mask, but he suddenly subdues her and handcuffs her to an iron rail before escaping. At this point, the mysterious client is revealed to be Ko Hyun-woo, the man whose family was killed by the chairman. Ko Hyun-woo is secretly working with the chairman's secretary to extract helpful information. After hearing about the senator's death, he tells the secretary to send the next target's name to Soo-hyun, but she warns him it could provoke Soo-hyun to rebel against them. Meanwhile, the police create a joint investigation unit tasked with finding the assassin behind the murder of the senator. The three leaders of the units are Detective Jin, the chief detective, and a senior policeman. During this time, the chairman learns from an underling that his secretary could be working with Ko Hyun-woo, the enemy. The man provides photo evidence of this, so the chairman instructs him to get more evidence. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun is bent on uncovering the identity of the mysterious clients, so he forces Agent Philip to research them. However, as soon as the agent logs in, the mysterious client sends a photo of Detective Jin without any instructions, leaving Soo-hyun puzzled. So that night, he sneaks into the chairman's house to investigate. Unknown to him, the chairman is also in the house watching a live stream of his underlings preparing to extract a young orphan's organs surgically. The orphan boy tries to escape from the room, but the underlings capture and drag him back to the surgery room. After watching the live stream, the chairman leaves to attend a dinner meeting. So Soo-hyun sneaks into his room and stumbles on the live stream. As he takes a video of the live stream, the man returns to the room, so he quickly hides in a corner. The chairman continues watching the surgery live stream. After confirming the surgery is successful, he calls his cohort and orders for the orphan's organs to be transplanted to a wealthy patient. After Chairman Do leaves the office, Soo-hyun recalls his days at the orphanage and how he had been locked in a room filled with dead bodies. However, he managed to escape but was chased down by the chairman. The man eventually captures and locks him in a leather bag. After recalling this memory, Soo-hyun wonders if the chairman is his father. The next day, he asks Agent Philip about his childhood, so Philip reveals that a mysterious man once gave Pavel a leather bag and told him to drop it in the ocean. But when Pavel found a young boy inside, he chose to spare his life. As the conversation continues, Soo-hyun secretly steals Philip's phone and slips away. In his office, he sends a video of the live stream to the mysterious client. Chairman Do's secretary receives the video and immediately calls him. He answers with a threat, warning he'll come after her, unless she reveals crucial details about his family background. The secretary immediately meets up with Ko Hyun-woo to update him on the development. Realizing that Soo-hyun is a threat to their revenge plan, they decide to use Detective Jin as a tool to control Soo-hyun. Meanwhile, Chairman Do gets an update from his underlings about his secretary. It turns out that the secretary's sister was among the children who were massacred after the orphanage was closed. Realizing the situation, the chairman quickly calls his secretary and arranges a dinner meeting.
주말에 식사나 같이 하지.
준비하겠습니다.
But right after the call, he receives a message showing the live surgical video. So he immediately panics and rushes to meet her. Meanwhile, Detective Jin receives an anonymous package at the station. Inside, she finds an old newspaper article by a journalist revealing that children's remains were buried near the orphanage after it was shut down. She immediately meets up with the journalist, who reveals that he had investigated the orphanage and discovered that tons of children were being abused and their organs were sold to hospitals. When he wrote an article about it, it was deleted and he was fired from his job.
그래도 계속 기사 쓰면서 밀어붙이려고 했는데 결국 신문사에서 쫓겨나고 허위사실 유포죄로 벌금 때려 맞고.
After listening to his story, she begs him for directions to the site where the children were buried. Later that night, they locate the site and she joins her team in digging up skeletons buried around the area. Meanwhile, the secretary waits patiently for the chairman, but Soo-hyun arrives instead and reveals he knows she's the mysterious client. He demands the truth about his real family, so she reveals that Chairman Do is his biological father. She also discloses that numerous children are being held for organ harvesting. Before he leaves, she sends him a photo of his next target, who is the doctor overseeing the organ harvesting. When the chairman meets the secretary, he pretends to know nothing about her betrayal. During the meal, he calls his underling in her presence and instructs him to relocate the children who are eligible for organ transplants.
잘 있는지 확인하고 이동 준비되면.
After the meal, the secretary runs into her car and calls Ko Hyun-woo to inform him about the chairman's plan to relocate the children. She begs him to find the children's location. As soon as she ends the call, the chairman's underlings kidnap her from the car. Meanwhile, Detective Jin and the chief detective meet Chairman Do to question him about the dead bodies found close to the orphanage he owned. But he denies knowing anything and blames it on the dead senator, who had been the manager of the orphanage. Feeling disappointed, Detective Jin begins to investigate the person behind all the anonymous parcels. After questioning the courier service, she discovers that the anonymous sender is the chairman's secretary. She immediately sends a text to the woman. Unknown to her, the secretary is being held hostage by the chairman's men. The men receive the text and inform the chairman that Detective Jin knows about the secretary. Meanwhile, Ko Hyun-woo is worried about the secretary's whereabouts and looks up the tracker attached to her body. After finding her location, he texts the address to Soo-hyun, claiming that the orphan children are at the location. Soo-hyun quickly drives to the place. At the same time, Detective Jin uses her police connection to track the secretary's number.
이 형사, 아까 적어준 번호 위치 추적 좀 해줘.
So, both she and Soo-hyun unknowingly arrive at the same place. The chairman is also around to interrogate the secretary about her betrayal. His henchmen discover Detective Jin snooping around and call to inform him. So, he orders them to chase her away from the place.
문제 일으켜서 여기 노출되면 시끄러워져.
Meanwhile, Detective Jin finds Soo-hyun's car in the area and gives him a call. As soon as he answers, the henchmen knock her out. So, he runs back to his car to save her life. The henchmen subdue and knock her unconscious, but Soo-hyun arrives in time to fight them off. As he retreats to check up on her, one of the henchmen sneakily tries to stab him, but Detective Jin awakens and quickly takes the stab for him. Before drifting to unconsciousness, she begs him to find the secretary. Meanwhile, the chairman hears the police siren and instructs his men to evacuate the area with the secretary. So, when Soo-hyun arrives at the room, he finds it empty. The next day, after receiving treatment for the stab wound, Detective Jin visits the location with the chief detective to find any evidence that could point them to the missing secretary. There, she finds a blood-stained earring on the floor. To confirm it belongs to the secretary, she calls an officer and orders him to get a comb from the secretary's room to find out if the hair and blood match. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun investigates and discovers that Ko Hyun-woo is the main client behind all the assassination orders. So he confronts the man, but the man warns him to only follow orders without asking questions. He also threatens to go after Soo-hyun's loved ones if he disobeys any order. After the confrontation, Ko Hyun-woo calls the chairman, questioning his betrayal. They were once business partners, but the chairman ordered the assassination of his family after Ko Hyun-woo decided to leave the business. The chairman doesn't feel remorse for the past. Instead, he threatens to find and kill Ko Hyun-woo. Meanwhile, the chief detective and Detective Jin find strong evidence that suggests the chairman's company is engaging in illegal biotech activities. From reading the evidence, Detective Jin discovers that the chairman procreates children through artificial insemination. However, there are no traces of the children's whereabouts. She pieces the information together and realizes that the missing children at the closed orphanage are the results of artificial insemination. They further discover that Ko-hyun-woo was working together with the chairman but decided to back out of the business due to his conscience. From this, Detective Jin realizes that her father must have ordered the assassination of Ko-hyun-woo's family, which is why the man is out for revenge. Meanwhile, the trapped secretary manages to release herself from hostage and tries to escape, but she finds out that she's trapped in an organ harvesting room. As she attempts to run away through the door, she runs into the chairman, who orders his men to kill her. That same day, Detective Jin goes to visit Soo-hyun at his vet clinic, but there's no one around. As she looks around the clinic, she finds a strange door that leads her to his underground secret room. There, she finds all types of weapons and guns, which makes her realize that Soo-hyun is the assassin behind all the past and recent murders. She contemplates calling the police, but decides against it at the last moment. Later that day, as Detective Jin struggles to process her discovery, she receives a call from an officer informing her that the secretary's car and body have been found. In the autopsy room, the coroner reveals that the secretary died from being injected with drugs. He also reveals that he found a USB drive hidden in the secretary's comb, which was brought in for the test. They immediately insert the USB drive into a computer and discover tons of audio files containing conversations between the chairman and his evil cohorts. In the audio file, the chairman admits his involvement in the case of the missing children. Hearing this, Detective Jin quickly forwards the file to the police for analysis. With this evidence, she and her police team uncover the story behind all the recent assassinations. It turns out that all the people who were assassinated had something to do with the dead children from the orphanage. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun infiltrates the hospital, where tons of harvested organs and children's cells are kept. Coincidentally, the chairman is also at the hospital to visit the doctor in charge of harvesting. In the organ room, Soo-hyun calls the chairman and offers him the opportunity to reveal the location of the orphan children, but the chairman dismisses his words as a bluff, so Soo-hyun plants a bomb in the organ room and quickly leaves. A section of the hospital explodes, and chaos disrupts everywhere. While leaving the hospital, Soo-hyun walks past a guard talking about visiting the location of the orphan children, so he secretly stalks the man to the place. Meanwhile, Detective Jin revisits Soo-hyun's hidden layout. She sees his laptop and looks through it. There, she discovers the live stream video of children's organs being harvested. In the meantime, Soo-hyun evades the organ harvesting center and kills off all the henchmen stationed there. Afterward, he releases the children being held captive. On the other hand, Detective Jin calls her team to raid Soo-hyun's hidden room. As they take out all his guns, she suddenly receives a text message with the location of the orphan children. Once she arrives at the place, she finds the orphans in a car with no sign of Soo-hyun. The next day, Soo-hyun meets up with Agent Philip and tells him that he plans to kill the chairman. The agent tries to persuade him to leave the country before the police find him, but Soo-hyun insists on carrying out revenge.
내가 이 지긋지긋한 한국에서
Meanwhile, the doctor in charge of the organ transplants becomes restless and contacts the chairman, who advises him to stay calm. He ignores this advice and tries to escape the country, but Ko-hyun-woo captures and strangles him to death. Then, he escapes before the police catch him. Unknown to him, an officer captures his plate number and orders the police to trace him. On the other hand, Detective Jin goes to arrest the chairman based on the accumulated evidence against him. During interrogation, the chairman denies all the evidence brought against him, claiming they were fabricated. Meanwhile, Ko-hyun-woo returns from murdering the doctor and finds Soo-hyun at his hideout, so he advises Soo-hyun to kill the chairman, or else the man will use connections to avoid a jail term. As they discuss, the police arrive at the hideout, so Ko-hyun-woo tells Soo-hyun to escape while he surrenders to the police. He's eventually arrested. At the station, he claims that Soo-hyun is innocent and that he is the actual person behind the assassinations, but Detective Jin doesn't believe this. The next day, the officers receive news that the warrant to detain the chairman had been denied, so they're forced to release him. At home, the chairman prepares to leave the country, but Soo-hyun barges into the house and begins to shoot at the guard. Tae-soo arrives and fires a gun at him, but Agent Philip suddenly appears to take the bullet for him. Seeing that his friend is dead, Soo-hyun gets into combat with Tae-soo and ends up strangling the man. At the same time, Detective Jin drives over to stop Soo-hyun from killing the chairman. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun fires at the chairman, making the man beg for mercy, but Soo-hyun ignores his pleas and fires another bullet at his leg. As he's about to pull the final trigger, Detective Jin arrives at the house and begs him to stop the killings. But he argues that the chairman will pull strings to evade jail terms regardless of the evidence they find against him. At this moment, tons of armed police officers barge into the room, aiming their guns at Soo-hyun, but he refuses to back down. Instead, he fires a bullet to kill the chairman, which earns him rounds of bullets from the police officers. He ends up dying while holding on to Detective Jin's hands.